always a moment of truth when I wake up, when I've gone to bed like 4:30. But it was 11 when I woke up, so that's decent. Omar hadn't gone poo-poo, he was in the crate, and my mom, I guess, had just got out of the shower or something. So now she's taking him for a walk. And right before we leave, right before she leaves, I mean, I've told her this for years now, you know. The bottom line is I have no idea what she does when I'm not around. Because I have stressed. You can't, it only takes a split second. You have to wrap that leash around your hand. I do the same thing. It's not like I tell her to do it and I don't do it. And I see her doing the same goddamn thing, walking down the pathway with the leash just not even wrapped and just barely holding on to it in her left hand. Okay? And I had to yell at her from out the door. I'm like, Mom, what are you doing? You know? What are you doing? You have his leash in your left hand, and it only takes a second, you know what I mean? She needs to wrap that leash, be aware of that from the moment she's out the door. Unbelievable. That's for any of you who condemn me for wanting that guy's mouth wrapped around my feet, or for wanting to fool around with him or anything, you know. You don't live here. You don't know. You don't know what I see. You don't know. And it's scary for me, and it's frustrating too. If I was like Joe, I'd be fucking walking around, you know, I'd be dribbling I'd be a basket case if I was like Joe. If I were like Joe. Okay? It's a good thing I'm not like Joe, because Joe is above and beyond when it comes to cleaning and everything, like above and beyond obsessive, okay? And you guys might think that I'm not clean, but I make her. Remember, she's on a shitload of meds, and she's almost 70 years old, okay? She's not a young 70, even remotely. Told you, even Auntie noticed it the last time we were in court. He said, your mother's really aged. She said it to me. Like, I know. It's heartbreaking. Okay? It's heartbreaking. And, oh, I'd be, if I was like Joe, this, because you can't live with somebody who's and keep up with it. You'd go nuts. I mean, I've told her repeatedly, don't use our dishes sponge to wipe down our counters. And every time I turn around, she's doing it, you know. Or don't leave the dish sponge in the sink. You know, all the things that Joe taught me, which are common sense, you know. And I'm just saying that there's no way for me to keep up with that. If I was trying to be as clean as Joe is, I would go fucking nuttier. I'd be a basket case. Because there's just no way. So it's a good thing for me that I'm not that clean or whatnot, because I'm living with somebody who's worse than me. I periodically do deeper cleaning. As you guys know, I take everything off the counters. In fact, I think I'll do that right now and clean down, scrub down everything, and I find stuff all behind stuff, but she would never do that. And if you think I'm condemning her, I'm not. Because that's how it is. No. I'm just saying it's a good thing that I'm not, you know, super obsessed with being clean, or I'd be a friggin' basket case. Because you can't keep up with it unless somebody's on the same page as you. As in, you know, periodically she would take everything off the counters and wipe them down, or at least make sure stuff's not behind stuff or whatever. Lately, I've had to tell her to even do basic things that she used to do automatically. She used to empty the dishwasher. She used to do whatever. She used to, now, she doesn't really even clean that much unless I tell her. Although she does wash the dishes in the sink. But then I usually, I wind up, if there's like other dishes or whatnot, I just put them all in the dishwasher. You know that they're clean when they go in the dishwasher. But I don't care about any of that shit. You know what I mean? I'll just tell her, you left hair in the shower drain, or you did this, or you did that, you know. I always make sure I get all my hair out of the shower drain and whatnot after I take a shower. But when it comes to my safety and I notice her not doing what I've trained her to do, then I'm going to freak out, you know. See, I create one of these videos and no one could bitch that I look like shit or something. I only have a brief opportunity if she's here and she left to walk over, you know. I have time to put on lipstick and do all that crap. And I don't need to get flack or you look like shit, what's wrong? She has to talk to Auntie and find out what's going on. Is Auntie gonna take over? And I don't know anything that's going on, you know. As in the legal stuff. Regarding the legal stuff, is Auntie gonna take over? Is I have to know, you know. Auntie wants that stuff back, copies, or what? I mean, what stuff? The stuff we sent to the conservator. Mom, we sent one thing to the conservator that Auntie wrote. Well, she wants that back, and then the other stuff. What, the stuff she gave me, for me to show a lawyer and say she doesn't want any involvement whatsoever? That stuff, Mom? Yeah. Well, does that mean she's changed her mind? I think so. Well, you gotta find out, Mom. This is driving. I have to know one way or the other. It's not gonna be both of us. It's either gonna be her or me. And I'll gladly have it be her, but she swore up and down that she's not getting involved. Inconsistency. Believe me, I'd gladly have her take over. She'd do a much better job. Do a much better job. I won't be involved at all, and whatever happens, happens. Despite her belief that we could fight that hospital and win, and not only get back all the money my mom had to pay out in court costs to the conservator, guardian, whatever, plus for damages. She definitely deserves damages. That fucking, none of it should have even happened. I have other interesting online dating stories to tell you guys about. Things like, one time, you know, I told her I very rarely write to guys, but sometimes I do. And if their post is particularly, you know, intrigues me a little bit. So I write to this guy whose post was, it was like, had some nice stuff in it, whatnot, right? But he'd written in all caps, and I really didn't understand why he'd written everything in all caps. Then he writes me back in all caps, completely all caps. So why does someone do that? You know me, I'm curious. But also he's very, like, his forwardness scared me a little bit, okay? We haven't had any kind of back and forth, and suddenly he writes me back, oh my God, like you wrote to me, here's my number, and blah, blah, blah. And then I was taken aback because I was no, I wrote to you because so we can do a little bit of back and forth and test the waters, and then I was turned off, and I indicated that I was turned off a little bit, and I asked him why he wrote to me in all caps, and then he turned vicious on me. Called me swear names and everything. So, you know, and his post was like so eloquently written. That's one example. Opposite end of the spectrum. When I first started doing this, I think back before all this shit hit the fan in this household, with my mom repeatedly getting sick and this, that, and just hell. I had this guy who I thought I liked his post, but I also thought he was really attractive. We had a back and forth for weeks. He seemed to like me. And then, nothing. I was indicating, like, are we ever going to meet or whatnot? I mean, he was writing to me every day. And then he was gone. Just like that. No word of anything. And how I look at it is, you have to remember, it's like the Bachelor, Bachelorette. These men are dealing, you know, it's not just you they're writing to, they're probably writing to other women, and he disappeared. But this was something where I really thought he liked me. I thought we were going to get to meet. This went on for weeks. Nothing. Disappeared. And he was someone I genuinely liked. That happened to me in LA before. And I wasn't getting I wasn't really revealing with him, I wasn't getting really, you know, testing the waters and whatnot. I really liked him, so I held myself in check. And he just disappeared one day. And that was the end of that. No word of why. Yet I get these total strangers wanting to know why they send me their picture, you know, when unfortunately I have to request a picture because they don't have a fucking picture like I do. And how come I haven't heard from you? Do you not like me? What's wrong? Blah, 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 blah. Okay? Meanwhile, I don't even do that to men who I've actually established a little bit of a rapport, and we've done back and forth for weeks, you know? Contrast, juxtapose how I behave with how a lot of these people behave. Miss C and I discussed it in detail yesterday, and she told me that women probably do the same damn thing. I'm like, all right, well, I don't understand it. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. I don't even write. I've had these men, I had it happen more than once. We've had it back and forth. We've become somewhat, you know, friends or whatnot, and then I never hear from them again. I wrote them last. I don't hear from them again. You think I'm going to write them again and say why? No. They've made the choice. If I'm the last person to write and they don't write me back, they've made the choice. They're no longer interested. That's their prerogative. Okay? These men, it's their prerogative. And I'm not going to say, hey, what's going on? Why haven't I heard from you? Don't you like me anymore? Meanwhile, I get it from strangers who we haven't even established any kind of fucking connection. Anything. Ridiculous. It's absolutely fucking ridiculous. And these are real people on this planet, okay? So you guys can call me crazy all you want. But you know, there's different kinds of crazy. I've had a lot of fucking shit go on just over these past 3.5 years, and you don't live with her. By the way, if any of my buddies are listening to this, I'm going to read you in detail what it said, but somebody wrote me a personal message, and it was from one of those I periodically get these marketing people to, I don't know who this was from, but I get marketing people saying, oh, we've noticed your channel's getting up, and how can you, I don't write to any of those. I don't trust them. I don't know who they are. I don't bother. We know how to get you more views. No, just don't even, don't, just go away. Just leave me alone. But somebody who doesn't seem like one of those actually was giving me a warning, referencing like Stoney or Colin or Philip, saying they're not who they appear to be and they're fucking with you for this, that reason. Do I believe that? No. Not for a second. Not for a second. If it's true, I don't care, because I don't believe it's true. But when I was joking around with Stoney and whatnot, and saying X, Y, and Z, because the truth of the matter is, you guys, I am in a different situation. You guys know everything about me, and I know nothing, virtually nothing about the majority of you. Okay? So I have to guess or hypothesize or surmise, and I can joke around and say, well, I don't know, if you have a girlfriend, why does she not care if you're watching my channel? You know what I mean? I'm just joking, because I don't know anything about you. And I do have something in my personal message. It had been there and I hadn't read it, I guess. And it says, warning me about, you know, these men who blah, 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 they're actually trying to something or other. I'm like, yeah, whatever. I don't believe that. And I don't care.